Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. I am a professional intuitive empath, and today we're going to take a look at what is coming up for my Leos for the month of April, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We're going to take a quick look. Also, your Venus signs as well, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I was guided today to do a heart chakra centered reading, so we will be working with a few decks. And I am going to be seeing what is going to be coming up for us. So let's pull a few signifiers first, guys. Man, I feel like if I wanted to theme or name this, we call it Coming Out of the Dark. There's J Hud beckoning us, or Beyonce, whoever. Listen, I am not afraid. It's time to listen. So let's talk about what we're going to be listening to. And what are some of the themes that are coming up? Again, coming out of the dark. So we are going to be releasing, all right, as well. What are we releasing? Let's take a look. Oh my goodness. I think we do want to release that. Feeling helpless, feeling hopeless. Yeah, we'll pull a few more clarifiers on that, but that seems like a pretty good start to me. So let's take a look at this again, guys. For Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We're going to get right into it. All right. Let's talk about this and see what comes up. Oh, guys. Yeah, we are releasing some energies that had to do with people. Man, that old wheel came in, didn't it? And it shifted things in an unexpected way. And it took us to a place that we weren't expecting to go. And there was some things that changed about the relationships that we were in. And communication, that was one of the things that we were requiring, wasn't it? It's one of the things that we needed in order to move on. But oh my goodness. Now I want to know, can you guys see that? Okay. So even if you can't, we're going to talk about what we have pulled up here. So first we have listen. So when we're dealing with this heart chakra, I feel like we weren't listening. I feel like there was a lot of information that was given unto us. One of my favorite comedians says that, unto us, and we weren't listening. What we were doing was living in our hope. And this was our hope. This was the dream, wasn't it? A coupledom, a couplehood, a relationship, whether this is a dear friend, whether this is a lover, an ex-lover, a current lover, a marriage. For some of my Leos watching, we had to come to the realization that the thing that we envisioned did not turn out to be the thing that took us into a place where we felt empowered in the relationship. So that's the thing that needs to be understood. So when we're dealing with the card listen, what they talk about is taking a moment to quiet your mental chatter and to listen in on the relationships. And it's so important to pay attention to what the other person is really saying. So too often in conversations, guys, we're already planning what we're going to say while the other person is still talking, and you're making assumptions about where the conversation is going, and you plan your part of the conversation. Does this sound familiar to any of you? And when this happens, you don't truly hear what the other person is saying. So our angels are asking us to listen. It starts with becoming quiet, centered, and totally present. It involves all of our senses. So they want us to use our eyes, our body language of the other person, to use our ears, and to hear not just the words spoken, but the tone used, the expressions used. They want us to use our intuition to get a sense of what the person is really saying and feeling. So our intuition often helps us to hear what is not said and what is. And this is so crucial to our understanding of the person or the situation. Okay? So I want you to honor yourselves in being present and truly listening to the messages that you're hearing. Now, I feel like for us that we weren't always listening in our partnerships because, Leos, you know how we do. We are ambitious. We have a goal in mind. We push forward unabashedly, and we think we can cheerlead anybody into loving us. Can we talk about this? Into loving us the way that we feel that we deserve to be loved. And the situation is simply not so. The thing about love energy, and love spells. You know, I work with clients all over the world, and I have people ask me about going to their local practitioners and which candle they need. And listen, candles are candles. I have one burning here. It's a pure sage energy cleanser that I like to have when I do my readings. But candles and your prayers are the only spell, quote unquote, that you need. Our intention is what creates the thing. It's a prayer. So I don't participate in those per se. That's just not my thing. But it doesn't mean that we don't sometimes want to create a situation where it feels like we've enchanted another. Love can be enchanting. And what I want you to understand about the love that you wanted, there was nothing wrong with the love that you wanted. But what was wrong, come on now, let's talk about it, was the person you wanted it from. That doesn't mean that they're a terrible person. It just means, well, actually, this card does mean that. Five of Swords actually means we're dealing with a trickster, somebody who is sneering and getting away with things, somebody who is juggling many partners, somebody who is lying, manipulating, being deceitful. You saw me pull these cards. This is an authentic energy read for what's happening here. So there's a lot happening, but it's not what you wanted. So you have this vision, they have this vision, and if you are not listening, you're thinking the two can meet, right? If I'm just patient enough, if I'm just Leo enough, my Leos, do you understand that? I can get the result that I want. That is not the case. So when we're not listening, the release must happen. And so this card of release here talks to us about having to bare our soul. And when you're in a relationship where you cherish someone and care about them, bearing your soul can be so tough to do, even if you love them. But this card of release, it's a 13 card, which adds up to 4. 4 is a number of work. There is work that is done even in a release. There is work that's done. It's pain. Have you ever tilled the soil of a heartbreak? It's exhausting. And so the universe comes in and says, you weren't listening. And so we put in the Wheel of Fortune. Now, usually when we're seeing the Wheel of Fortune, we're seeing wonderful and maybe fortuitous things. But let's take a look at the wheel. When we're dealing with the wheel, we have an option to be, and like this person, this kind of fox here, well, I think this is actually, you know, it's so funny. You look at your cards all the time and you will always see something new. Well, this fox here that is right under the wheel about to get crushed. I just had a message downloaded that is prophetic. a bit of a telling story, as I've looked at this card hundreds of times in my life and never seen it. For the person who is watching, who feels like you have been triangulated, or your partner chose a karmic partner, if you're a divine feminine or a divine masculine watching, and your partner stepped outside of this very pure soul-mated kind of connection to work with a karmic partner and the rest of it, this is them having the wheel. You know how they say you're under the bus? This is them being energetically and karmically crushed by the wheel, meaning it may seem as though they got away with something to them, maybe not to you, because now we're listening with our heart and not just with our ears, right? You know what was going on. You know that they were being deceptive. You know that they weren't telling the truth. But now their fate will catch them. Sometimes people that are manipulating and gaslighting will say to you, well, I didn't do that thing and I don't know what you're talking about. When the truth of the matter is they did do it. They do know. And what I have learned is that you don't have to, once you've explained and done your due diligence, Leos, which I know that you do, you don't have to like walk them through step by step the betrayal. They know what the betrayal is, and so does the Wheel of Karma. Take a good look at this fox, a sly fox, and it's so interesting. This feels half beast, half man, which happens a lot in our decks here. But this feels very interesting to me, because it says to me sometimes you can be on this wheel, and this can also be you guys watching, feeling like I'm being crushed by the wheel right now. That's not my person. They seem to be up here living their best life. But the wheel is always turning. And the thing about this that I want you to understand is what clarifies this card is the card of justice. And so here you will understand, and this is for some of you contemplating divorce because you've realized your partner that you chose is not going to be on the path that you are on. So there's that's happening. But there's also the justice, meaning if they were truly not good to you, if they were truly this energy here, sorry guys, if they were truly this energy of the Five of Swords, the cad, the manipulator, the liar, then God, karma never loses an address, is what they say. Justice will be served for you. You will get vindication from their terrible behavior and from the heartbreak. Sometimes I just want to like reach out because I know that you guys are hurting. I know what this is. We all do. We all have been through a heartbreak in our life, and you think, am I ever going to move on? And your angels say, not only are you going to move on, but you're moving on to something that is going to be fulfilling for you. You're moving on to a relationship, a new relationship. I know for some of you, you can't fathom it right now. You are still deep in the trenches of pain. But listen, Leos, we're coming out of the dark. So, this thing that you wanted with this person that didn't have the emotional capacity or bandwidth to give you what you needed can be a reality with someone else that is an ideal match. This is a very soulmated card, a twin flame card. See, we have soulmates, and I'll be making a video about that soon, about how our soulmate contracts can be met once we realize the lesson they were here to teach. And that doesn't mean we won't see them again. It's a soulmate separation. It doesn't mean a goodbye. It just may not be that we see them in this lifetime again. But what I want you to understand is that the person that you're manifesting will be able to communicate with you, will want to grow with you. This person was more interested in games. They were not interested, this person, Five of Swords, they were not interested in communication, building, strengthening bonds, happily ever after. They may have provided illusions that said that they were, words that were fancy that said that they were, but the truth was always in their actions. This is a card of action, right? What were they juggling? Who were they doing? What side businesses did they have? What addictions were they hiding? What isms were they struggling with that you did not know about? Yeah, guys, that's another thing. Sometimes we think when this Wheel of Fortune is crushing us, we think, oh my gosh, what did I do to deserve this? And what your angels say is we were sparing you from calamity. This person was the hot mess express, and you didn't even realize it because you weren't listening. You weren't paying attention. And so, in the not listening, sometimes when we forfeit our intuition, we can find ourselves feeling helpless and hopeless, but they're bringing us out of this. They're bringing us out of feeling this helplessness and hopelessness into a relationship where communication overflows. Ace of Cups. Communication flows down and it waters everything, and you are being shared with expressively, and you're really having a friendship or a lover relationship or a new partnership. Some of you within the next year and a half where you're like, I don't even know why I stressed out so much over this, but I'm not going to belittle this because you spent many years, for some of you, months for some of you, investing in a person who treated you in a way you didn't deserve. And there's something that happens with us as Leos. We have what I call big Leo energy. And when we're loyal to a fault, and we're patient and long-suffering, are we not, my fellow lionesses and lions? Are we not? And so what happens is when someone treats us poorly like this for so long, we'll rationalize it. We're fixed signs. We don't like change. So we're like, God, I can't read them. I don't understand what's happening. Why aren't they valuing me? Well, I value them. Well, and you go down your emotional checklist. I did this. I did that. I do this. Okay. Well, I tried this, and you're tweaking. And then one day you realize they're this. And this is a leopard that's not going to change its spots. And in some cases, those leopards tell you when we're not listening exactly that they don't want to change your spots, but you are so attached to the outcome and what you think is going to happen that you are not paying attention to the truth. You are not hearing. And so when that Wheel of Fortune comes in, it shakes things up. And then finally we get to this. Now, this is no one around you is dying. Everybody is fine. I know that the world is in a pandemic, but this is symbolic of your relationship, and it is truly the best card in the deck. This is about transition, truly moving forward. This card's right here on the top of the deck. It's about healing. It says, imagine yourself and your beloved surrounded by light. Feel your relationship being healed at this very moment. And I want to tell you guys something. If you get this card of healing and you're thinking, well, I want to mend fences with this person, this reading may not be for you. It is not that you cannot mend fences or find a soulmate or someone that maybe has betrayed you, because this is a card of betrayal, down the road where you can reconcile and kind of address things when calmer or cooler heads or more evolved grown-up heads prevail. But it means that you have to work on healing this, because if you had this partner, this Five of Swords cad, you had somebody that wasn't being honest with you. So you may have a vacuum that you have to fill with what you think was happening if you didn't actually confirm the betrayal. For some of us, our intuition leads us into the facts of the betrayal, and then this major transition comes up. Now, some of the things that are happening is that I see us in a loop. I know I have been there, where I'm in a loop of trying to understand and explain and work through some of my emotions. The next card here: imagine all the unwanted thoughts dissolving into light, creating room for new opportunities and possibilities in your life. That's what the Death card is about. New possibilities in your life, new opportunities to be in alignment with a partner who sees you for who you are, Two of Cups, a partner who wants to build with you, Ten of Pentacles, a partner who wants to communicate with you, Ace of Cups, a partner who wants to love you, Ace of Wands, and build with you and grow with you. These four cards here, major arcana, this major arcana here, the Wheel of Fortune, Justice, these aces, wishes granted. So there's a tiny bit of negativity here. And for some of us that were in relationships for many years, you might say to me, well, it didn't feel tiny to me. It felt like a long time and a great big investment. My loves, I understand. I understand from the deepest part of my heart. But I also, even though I don't know what it is for me, I do also understand that I deserve this, because I give this. Don't you deserve that, Leos? So what they're saying is to trust that transformation occurs through acceptance. So once you accept the current situation, once you accept that your person was trash, and what I mean by that is that they trashed your relationship. They took for granted the bonds that you were building. They took for granted the energy that you gave, guys. That's all. Once you realize that you couldn't have been better. I had several calls today with women clients. It was a theme. Don't you notice how things work in themes, especially for these reads? It was a theme, and it was several of them, but one of them specifically was like, I just feel like in my last relationship, they didn't love me either. And in this next one, they didn't. And I was working with her through themes of self-worth. And we were talking about it. And I said, I want you to go back into your place in your childhood where someone taught you that treatment, that behavior, and that you weren't enough was okay. And my Leos listening, I want you to do the same. I want you to ask yourself, where did I learn to accept less than what I want? And what you want is love, romance, connection, trust. You want to build, you want partnership, you want long-term partnership, commitment. That is what you want. Not everybody wants that. I know it's hard to believe. Players exist in the world, but beyond them being players, they'll come to their lessons one day. And this is hard to hear, but one day this player will figure out whatever they want, and then they will have to deal with the karma. Hey now, don't think it's over. Just because it feels like they got away with X, Y, and Z with you, the karma never loses an address, okay? She will find them and she will repay them, and they will one day know the pain you suffered, because they can't hear you. Hey, who's not listening now? They aren't listening in their own way, so they can't hear the pain that you suffered. I want you to understand that you deserve to have more in your life, and that's what's going to be coming up for this month. So here's another little warning card here. Beware of what you're projecting. For the qualities you admire in another are qualities you both possess. Equally so, the qualities you don't like are also your own reflection. This was hard for, it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. And it was hard for me to process, because I thought, my goodness, I am so frustrated in my personal situation. How on earth could I be like this person? But when I looked, I did see where we were mirroring each other. And I realized that even though I didn't go to their devious extremes, that things could have been misconstrued. There could have been misunderstandings. There could have been non-committal issues. So in the way that I was so frustrated, and Leo, that's a hard push. Where are you like the person that you feel like betrayed you? The reason I'm asking you to go back there is not to hurt your feelings and not to say, well, that they didn't hurt you and they didn't lie. They were deceptive. Karma's coming for them. But it is to say that in order for us to evolve, which is the mission of my channel, we must examine where we played a part in a situation. So one part we played, we've already established, is not listening. Another part we played is allowing that person to have so much power where we felt helpless and hopeless. Another part we played is thinking that a person who told us who they were wanted to be changed. Now, for some of us, we had people that told us this. They said, I believe in this and this is us and we're soulmates and yes, yes, yes. But they were living this. Okay. So that's the real situation. All right. So what they're bringing you to, guys, is this. And I love it so much. Isn't this beautiful? I love the picture of this. The death card of major transition and magical new beginnings, but leaving the past behind. What are we leaving in the past? We're leaving him, her, them. We're leaving that behind. Okay, guys? Divine feminine, divine masculine. For me, it's a divine masculine that was in another body. Okay? But we all have people that we are leaving behind. Sacred union. Honor and treasure your relationship, for it is truly sacred. And this is how we learn from contrast. What didn't happen in your relationship, my Leos? You did not feel honored and valued. And Leos, we don't do that. We don't compete if we don't compare. I had someone offer me recently a glass of competition, or rather, they said to me competition, and they were offering it like a glass of wine. And I was like, this person has lost their mind. They have lost their absolute mind. And Leos out there watching, you know exactly what I'm saying. We don't compete if we don't compare. You know how you love, Leo. It is big, it is expansive, it is protection. And if you love that way, why would you have to compete? You've already given the best you can give. But now they're saying the contrast of what wasn't in this relationship shall be in this relationship. You will have a sacred union. You will honor and treasure it, even more so because of the juxtaposition of the lessons learned with the Five of Swords. So that person that was a liar and was deceptive and manipulative and conniving and self-serving and maybe a tinge of narcissism, or they were an energy vampire, whatever you were dealing with. We all have various cocktails of crazy when we're dealing with someone with this energy. Whatever your cocktail of crazy was, it made you realize how much you want the sacred union, how much you're willing to honor and treasure the next person that comes into your life, how much your relationship will be truly sacred to you. One more out of this deck, and we're going to pull, got a couple more things over here for you, because I want to walk us through this all the way. This is what will reignite. Even though you feel like not the best, perhaps some of you that are still in transition through the pain, death warmed over. It's a feeling, we go through. And Leos, here's the thing that people don't talk about with us is what brooders we are, BROOD. We brood. And people think that all Leos are just like magnanimous and sunshiny and yellow like my shirt and always happy. But when we don't feel loved and honored, and when someone knocks our self-esteem by making us question ourselves and they gaslight us like this person does, we forget that we're sexy and seductive and that there's this amazing quality around us. Well, this is a universe. Our angels reminding us, you have that quality. You are sexy, girl. You are sexy, sir. You got it. Don't let this person that treated you like an option, because that's what Five of Swords and Seven of Swords, super pernicious. A vermicious canid. That's one of my favorite things from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. When this person is doing all of their mind games, because they love that, it's one of their favorite ways to feed off people's energy, they are making you question yourself. And Leos, you know what you are. I'm not saying we're perfect. Like I said, there are things we weren't doing. We weren't listening. We weren't honoring our great divine energy. We were maybe mirroring their behavior in other ways with other people in other relationships. That's something that I had to do, and I want you to do. Examine where you may have been like this. Even if it's in minuscule ways. I found ways that I was like this. I didn't mean to be. I didn't think I was. But to people that actually loved me, not this person, I don't think that I was all the way fair. And so I had to get real honest with myself as I have gone through this same transition. I had to get real honest with myself about who I was and honest with them about what I needed. It's an interesting time for you to take heed to that. If you have someone that's coming into your life or people that were around watching you go through this, go and not make your amends, but maybe at least have discussions and get feedback from friends and family about what was going on. Now here's a message. Here's a message. And I actually feel like this is for some of you that are still aching for Five of Swords, for that ex friendship, lovership, situationship. My beloved, though we may be physically apart, spiritually, we are always united, for love transcends space and time. Nothing is missing. To me, that harkens to this. What I talked about with your soulmate, separation. Another video I will make, so stay tuned for that. Soulmate separation means that you may not ever have a relationship in the physical realm with this person again. But because you are a soulmate, you will meet them again in other lifetimes. You will incarnate with them. Hopefully you're at the top of the wheel when you do. That may be something that brings someone here solace. This is for a specific listener. I don't understand. Because in my energy, and for some of us watching, we're like, bye, Felicia, if we feel like there was such damage done. And here's another thing to understand about us Leos that's coming through, is that we do not give up on a situation until we have literally exhausted ourselves. And in some of our cases, we are manifesting illnesses, autoimmune issues, which are very much tied to energy vampire. So even if this person was super loving at one point in your relationship, if it turned toxic and you notice that you were manifesting illnesses, you've got to pay attention to that. And it doesn't mean that you need to keep bouncing through lifetimes with this. I want you to pray over it and say, in next lifetime, we shall be balanced. Love is not always about agreeing for the sake of it. A great relationship is one that both supports and challenges. There are times where we don't challenge this person, and meaning we could extricate ourselves from a very unhealthy situation much faster if we challenge the person. Okay, so that is what I wanted to share with you. I'm going to pull a couple more from another deck over here, guys. Just give me a second. I want to get some higher vibration messages. This is a beautiful Kyle Gray deck of Ascended Masters. So let's talk about this. What do they want us to know? I love it. Open communication. Get a weight off your chest and speak up with love and be heard. I'm going to clarify that out of this deck, because we need to talk to the people that have hurt us, but it's also important that you do it measured. I often complain to the universe. I'm not going to lie. And I say, why do you hold me to such a high standard? Well, I know that I'm a teacher. I'm a metaphysician. I know that I'm a healer. I understand that I don't get to just do what I'd like to do sometimes. I really have to balance that for myself. But what I'm hearing here is that because I don't do that, you sometimes have to make sure that you've really processed within you what you think has happened before you bring it. But you have every right to say it. So let's see what the clarification is. I love this. Higher power, Three of Pentacles, going up, getting help and assistance. So remember what I just said, pray about this. I want you to pray and be like, guys, angels, guides, whoever you are dealing with, in pure light of God, ask for assistance to communicate in a calm and measured way. I was just watching a video of a relationship specialist who was recommending writing letters, which is something I think we know and is tried and true. You can write that letter and never send it. In my case, I've made videos that I will never probably upload, but I definitely process through my emotions of betrayal, hurt, the years that I felt, all of those things. So I want you to do the same thing. I don't want you to hold that in. And maybe it's a letter you will share, but the beauty of that is you get to refine it. I also want to clarify this one more time. Yeah, see, this is the opposite. Mercury, open communication, getting a weight off your chest. When you're dealing with someone like this Five of Swords, this was also what you were dealing with. This King of Pentacles, he's not emotional. He's not wanting to share. He's smug. He's super sure of himself. He thinks he's fantastic. He thinks he looks fantastic. He thinks everybody wants him. This terrible kind of very narcissistic energy. And even if your person wasn't a full-blown narcissist, there was some cluster B energy that was happening for some of you guys watching. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Narky comments, put downs, never validating. You do understand. Not everybody will resonate. That wasn't everyone's situation, but this is for some of you. And that is the complete polar opposite of Mercury in open communication. He's withholding. His eyes are closed. His mouth are closed. He's not seeing, listening, or hearing. Okay, guys? So I want you to be really sure of that. Here's what they're going to be moving you guys towards. Eight of Pentacles, mastery. In the absence of relationship, because I'm not recommending you hopscotch yourselves right into another relationship just because someone hurt you. It's nice, you know, the old adage, the best way to get over someone is to get underneath the other person. But that is the best way to continue a chain of dysfunction, lack of communication, and codependency. That's the real truth about that. The truth of this is, and for us Leos, you know how we do. We love mastery. We love accumulating our coins. We love becoming the expert. And that's what so many of us are going to be doing during this month. There is going to be an energy of becoming the expert, becoming the master, becoming the person. Now, I'm getting clarification too. For some of you that are wondering, the karmic is a third party from work, okay? For some of you guys in the situation, it's a third party from work because this card comes up too. So when I'm looking at him here, it just occurred to me, I was like, oh, the karmic, which the karmic is usually a destructive relationship necessary to cause somebody to evolve, whether they realize it or not. They're not ready to see that light. So you don't need to tell them. In your open communication with them, stop giving them the keys and the answers. They never listen to you, because if you're a Leo, like I'm a Leo, you already talked to this person and told them, hey, do you not realize that that's a huge train wreck ahead of you? There will be destruction. There will be calamity. So I want you to respect that you've already said those words. Now the words you need to say is, this hurt and this is why. No matter whether they acknowledge it or not, because if you're dealing with a true narcissist, they're never going to take any accountability, okay? Let's do one more. Here's where they're bringing you back to the card of Temperance, which also is Sagittarian energy, okay? So some of you guys may be dealing with a Sagittarius. The other thing that comes up here is the High Priestess. Follow your intuition. Another card for you guys. Here's the Strength. And what did you have to have strength with? You had to have strength with that Five of Swords person who had too many options, who was juggling things at their work, maybe in their private life, maybe online for some of you. Some of you found out about affairs that were going on for a long time, and it caused a lot of sleepless nights, and you wondered, am I ever going to come out of this? And that's why I named this Coming Out of the Dark. I was meditating and shuffling and asking to be guided before I started this, and that's what I heard. Gloria Estefan, Coming Out of the Dark. Oh my goodness, guys, the Fool. We're ready to come out. We're ready for some new beginnings. Those new beginnings are directly tied to the card of death, but they're so positive. Ace of Cards. So something had to die. It reminds me of Madonna. Something is ending and something begins. There's a ray of light coming into your life, and I know you can't see it because I can't see mine. But here I am standing on faith, on the edge, on the precipice of change, knowing that things are about to be amazing, and I don't understand why. And I don't understand why I feel that way, and I think some of you watching don't understand either, because everything around you feels like it's falling apart. These structures that you invested into no longer stand. What I heard was War and Peace. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. For some of you Leos, the relationship crumbling is the worst of times. And for some of us Leos watching, the job and career opportunities that are happening for us right now are the best of times. We are coming into a new realm of expertise, and we love nothing more, my Leos, than being the expert. So they're saying in April and beyond. Listen, guys, these readings are timeless. When you find them, you're meant to.